When you receive your water purifier, usually in the packaging of your device, there is a unit, a pack of installation fittings that you need for installing the device and the necessary accessories. If the device is a reverse osmosis or membrane-based system, there is definitely a tank, which some people mistakenly think is for storing water, whereas this is not the case at all. The tank is one of the important components of membrane-based systems. This means that because the membrane produces water, drop by drop under high pressure, it is specifically designed so that when you want to take water from the faucet on your sink, it doesn't come out drop by drop, which could be inconvenient. Instead, it comes out with pressure to fill a glass of water in a few seconds, not several hours. In the device package, there are accessories for the water input to the device and the output, which refers to the wastewater from the device. When water enters the device, it is either converted into purified water or remains as brackish water, and the other part is wastewater, which is usually salty and should be directed to the sewage. We have also included a sewage connection in the package for you. The installation method is very easy. If you are somewhat handy, you can easily install the device with these connections. However, if you feel that it is difficult or somewhat challenging for you, you can also contact our colleagues, our hub, who have a similar method taken from our colleagues, which is registered on the warranty card included with all devices. You can contact them to be introduced to an installer in your city and area, or you can call for online or phone guidance on where exactly it should be installed. However, the best option is to have experts do it. As of today, December 2023, we have installers in 380 cities across different parts of Iran. Now let's see what parts and connections are inside this installation pack that make the installation easier for you and help set up your device. First, let's check what parts and connections are included in this installation pack. There is definitely a specific length of hose for connecting the device's water inlet and outlet, and a wrench for opening and closing the filter housings. There is an inlet tee that is usually included in the packs in a plastic form for now. Why? Because it seals better compared to metal ones, and it doesn't get damaged. If it falls, it won't break in your hand. But keep in mind that this part is definitely disposable and doesn't have much value. So if you're renting or moving houses, you can easily leave it for the next person who wants to connect their device to the plumbing. It includes an inlet valve. By connecting to our inlet tee, it supplies the incoming water to the device, the tank valve on the device, and the waste pipe clamp allow you to connect the device's output or wastewater to the sewage system. Along with the device and the installation pack that has been sent to you, a tank and a sink-mounted faucet should also have been provided. At Joy Market, we always strive to send the devices complete and without defects, so that during installation, there is absolutely no need for any additional equipment. The tanks that are used in the home installation devices are of the pressurized type. What does that mean? It means that when this tank is sent to you, the tank valve that is installed on it is pressurized. The top of the tank always contains water and is separated from the lower part of the tank, which contains air, by a diaphragm. As you can see, there is an air valve under the tank, so that if we experience a pressure drop in the air section, we can compensate for that pressure by inflating it to maintain the tank pressure. These types of tanks are also commonly referred to as pressure tanks. The tank valve that has been sent to you should be installed on your device and connected to it. Additionally, a sink faucet has also been sent to you. For our full electric devices, we usually send a lever or a fancy type faucet, as it has a more elegant appearance and higher quality. The device's faucet has a 360-degree rotation capability and a lever for opening and closing. On mechanical devices, which are usually priced lower, some people just want to use cleaner water and cost is important to them, so a star faucet is sent. The star faucet functions similarly to lever faucets, with the difference being that it is somewhat lighter and the type of faucet is no longer a lever type like this. It is in the form of a wheel or star. Don't forget, if one day your faucet starts leaking, there's no need to completely replace the faucet. Just visit the Joy Market website and search for the term faucet cartridge, and we will provide it for you. Send you a faucet cartridge or the cartridge itself, or even the complete handle. This way, it won't cost you much, and your faucet will be easily fixed. The device you purchase from Joy Market is inspected before shipping and during the production process, are tested with air pressure to ensure there are no leaks. This air test is conducted 24 hours before packaging, and once we are certain there are no leaks, we package and ship the device. The indication is that the device's pressure gauge should be high, showing that the device has been turned on before. I emphasize again that we do not use water for testing the device. We test with air. When I simply open the cap of one of the connections, this sound or this sound should be heard from the device, indicating that there is still air or wind remaining in the device, so there is no leakage. In the devices purchased from the Joy Market site, the device's connections are of the fitting or quick connect type. By quick, it means that very easily you can connect the hose and other fittings into this connector, and there is no need for screwing and bolting. That's why it's called a quick connect, and it seals easily, which is used in all devices, as you can see. For the tank outlet, you need to use this filter. There is a fitting that connects through the tank valve installed on the tank, and with a hose cut to the required length, you connect it to this fitting to supply water from your tank. On the sewage part, there is also a cap that is a quick connect type, which you attach to your city sewage system. Naturally, for the outlet and the filtered or ready-to-use water, you remove this connection and attach the hose to the faucet on the sink. Alongside the package sent for installing the device, the main filter of the Purifier, which is the reverse osmosis membrane filter, is also separately placed in the box. You must ensure that the membrane filter is correctly placed inside the housing or the specific membrane compartment, so that when you open the membrane housing to insert the filter, it is properly positioned. The black washer should be facing the lid, the fesse, when placing the membrane filter. Ensure that it is fully inserted into the compartment, and then securely close the membrane filter housing lid. Note that the membrane filter is made from a special technology paper with very fine pores, and under no circumstances should charcoal particles from the second filter enter these pores. This is because, as they say, the membrane gets clogged, and not only fails to perform the filtration process, but can even make it worse. Therefore, you should always take care of the membrane filter, and if it's time to replace your device's filters, make sure you are replacing the filter correctly, meaning you have drained its black water and have not allowed it to enter the membrane's pores. The membrane housing has one inlet and two outlets. The inlet comes after the pre-filters, meaning after the 3 stages of filtration are completed. The water enters the membrane filter. We have 2 outlets. One is the purified water, which is in the center of the sensitive membrane, and the other is the wastewater, which exits through this component. Must go to the sewage system. I will show this to you up close. Look at the drain component or the wastewater capsule of the device. Despite its simple appearance, it performs a very important task. A number is written on it. The number 300 means that it only allows 300 milliliters of water to exit per minute. This means that the pressure behind the membrane is maintained. For a home water purifier, we should use a drain with a flow of 300. The direction indicated on it is the direction of water flow. So the membrane housing output goes to the drain input, ISO, and the drain output. In this way, through the hose, it goes to your municipal sewage system in the required amount and length. The method of working with the fittings is such that When you place or remove the hose or cap on the device, to remove it, you must press this ring around the housing inward to release it. Many people mistakenly pull this part out forcefully without pressing it, which causes damage to the device's fitting component. Alright, let's move on to the overall setup of the device. Let's assume that you have now connected the input, connected the outputs, one of which was the tank and the other was the capsule. It doesn't matter how many stages your device has. Maybe your device is an 8-stage or 9-stage device. The last filter goes to your consumption tap, and you've connected that too. Now you want to start up the device. You have the power plug, and before you plug it in, you need to make sure that you have opened housing number 3. Until now, as you want to turn on the device, the carbonated water from the 2nd stage filter should not enter the 3rd stage filter and the membrane. How? A tool has been sent to you in your setup pack, which is for opening and closing your pre-filter housings. You can easily open housing number 3 with the tool. It's not very difficult and doesn't require much force unless you haven't replaced the filter on time, which could cause deposits on the housing threads. When you open filter number 3, you can pull out the connection in the same way first I mentioned to you, and place the outlet of this hose into a transparent container like a pitcher, or if you prefer, once you've opened the housing, just place your pitcher under this chamber, plug the device in, and with the inlet water turned on, you'll see a black water, which we colloquially say is as black as cola, because it contains charcoal. Approximately between 4 to 8 liters. Let me tell you a very important point. Some people think that this black water coming out of the device is something excessive and unpleasant. However, the more black water or charcoal dust the filter has, the higher the quality of the filter, because it contains more charcoal. Unfortunately, some companies use coal instead of charcoal, and this coal practically does not have any dust, and the customer thinks that its quality is higher, whereas this is not the case. Real plant-based charcoal has more dust output, which of course must be washed and should not enter the membrane filter. So you open the water, connect the device to the board, and either remove filter number 3 this way, or through removing the connection hose from 2 to 3. Place it in a transparent container. Once the black water is finished and the water becomes clear, you unplug the device again. Close the valve, wait for the water to settle, and put the chamber back in its place. Now, if you open the valve and plug the device back in, the water enters the membrane after passing through the stage 3 filter and the purification process begins. Up until now, everything was part of the pre-filtration process. But before that, let me explain why the devices purchased from Joy Water Company, or Duota, Joy Market Store use a different filter for their stage 3 filter instead of the carbon block filter. A fibrous filter is used. We assume that the second filter was forgotten, which is supposed to remove the charcoal and black particles from the water. Although the third filter, which was used in older devices, no longer serves its purpose. The role of the carbon block filter in stage 3 was to capture nitrate compounds. But nowadays, in the traditional purification process of urban water treatment plants, no nitrates remain hard for the third filter to handle. Therefore, it is better to use a PP filter instead of a carbon block filter. We have designed it in the shape of the third filter, meaning we placed a mesh and caps on the top and bottom to resemble a carbon block, but it is actually PP. Its material is the same as the fibrous filter number 1, in case you forgot. Empty the second filter from the black water, or if you have already emptied it and due to a slight shake or movement under the cabinet, the charcoal we talked about broke again. This fibrous filter will prevent the charcoal from entering the membrane. Regarding the membrane, when water enters it and we take out the 2 outputs, meaning the purified water and the wastewater is supposed to be directed to the system, and the purified water exits from it. You should keep in mind that the purified water first enters a switch which is commonly referred to as a pressure switch or high pressure switch. Its function is to automatically turn off the device if the water pressure rises to a level where the device no longer needs to produce. What does that mean? Because from here, the water is supposed to enter our filter number 5, and our filter number 5 is connected to the tank through a hose. When the tank is full, the device senses this high pressure, meaning this high pressure component senses it and turns off the device. There is no need for wear and tear on your device until you draw water from the final stage or your consumption tap. The lack of pressure is sensed by the high pressure switch, the tank is emptied, and your device turns on again to produce new water. It is possible that when you open the outlet for the first time, there might still be a small amount of water coming out cloudy or black. Do not worry at all, because this is after the membrane, and the reason is the presence of the post-carbon filter. The post-carbon filter contains charcoal, and the reason for its presence is that if you are not home for a while, and the water stays and, so to speak, gets a smell, it causes the water to enter the post-carbon filter. From the tank, the smell is removed, and then it comes out. What? After being washed once or twice, when your tank is filled and emptied twice, the charcoal in the post-carbon filter is also washed, and you won't see it anymore. So, you should allow the device to run at least twice. The tank should be completely filled, and both the tank and the post-carbon filter should be washed, and the water should be ready to drink. Well, congratulations, your device is set up, but the water is a bit bitter. What? Why? What? Come with me for a moment. On your device, there is a valve that we colloquially call the mixer valve. What does this valve do? Before using the water purifier, you were using untreated water or mineral water, and your taste was accustomed to that water. Now you are drinking relatively pure water, at least 93 to 95%, purer than the previous water. So it's natural to feel that the water is a bit bitter. This mixer valve works in such a way that after filter number 3, the water directly goes towards the tank, meaning the membrane no longer affects the water. You should always try to keep your mixer valve closed until the water has a slightly bitter taste in that state. Open this valve by 1 to 2 millimeters to compensate for that bitterness. Naturally, after a few days of using the water or drinking tea made with purified water, this taste and your palate will change. And then you can completely close your mixer valve. So, don't worry about why the water has become bitter. The device is not broken. It's just that your taste buds have not yet gotten used to the taste of real and pure water.